So I'm at the end, and remember to attach a stitch marker into the first slip stitch. Okay, so for row 2 we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn, and then we're going to work 8 back loop slip stitches. Then after this stitch that has a stitch marker, we're going to begin working yarn over slip stitches, and then we're going to work 52 yarn over slip stitches, and then when we get to the 52nd yarn over slip stitch, I'll meet you guys back. I have 60 stitches, 8 back loop slip stitches, and then 52 yarn over slip stitches. Remember, like we did for when we were working our sleeves, for when we were working the body panel, we attached a stitch marker into the back loop of the last stitch we work into for the short rows. So remember to attach your stitch marker. And then this is row 2. To begin row 3, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn, and we're going to work our way back. Remember, we're working the yarn over slip stitches with the 7mm hook, and then when we get to the stitch that has a stitch marker, we're going to switch over to the 6.5mm hook and then work slip stitches. So when we get to the end of this row, I'll meet you guys back. I'm at the end of row 3. I don't want this video to be too lengthy, so I'm going to use the body panel to explain what we are going to be doing for the sleeve. So this is the end of row 3. For row 4, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work, and then we're going to work our way up until we get to this point, and then we're going to work off 2 stitches. Same thing we did for the sleeve, and then we're going to chain 1 and then work our way back down, then come up. So what you're going to do is to unwind the video and then do the same thing we did for the sleeve up until row 31, and then I'll meet you guys back. I'm at the end of row 31 for the sleeves. For row 32, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work, and then we're going to work our way up until we have 4 stitches remaining unworked, and then we're going to chain 1. Then for row 33, we're going to turn and then work our way back down. So basically the same thing we did for the body panel. We're going to repeat rows 32 and 33 for 34 to 41, and then I'll meet you guys back. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 43. This is what the short rows look like. So what we're going to do next for 42 is we're going to chain 1 and then turn, and then we're going to work our way up until we have 2 stitches remaining this time, and then we're going to chain 1 and then turn. For 43, we're going to work our way down, and then we're going to repeat 42 and 43 to 45, and then I'll meet you guys back. So I'm at the end of row 45, yes, and for 46 we're going to chain 1 and then turn, and then we're going to work our way up, and then when we get to this point, I'll meet you guys back so we can work on the short rows. I'm here. At this point you should have 60 stitches. So now we're going to be working into the unworked stitches from our short rows. So work a yarn over slip stitch, yarn over. We're going to be working into this stitch, but before we insert our hook into the back loop, we're going to insert our hook into the back loop of the stitch beside it, the stitch by the right, and then insert your hook into the back loop of the stitch you want to work into, and then work a yarn over slip stitch, and then into the next stitch just go into the back loop and work a yarn over slip stitch. So we are done for this row. Onto the next row, yarn over. We're going to be working into these stitches. So before we insert our hook into the stitch, we're going to insert our hook first of all into the back loop of the stitch by the right, and then into the stitch you want to work into and work a yarn over. Then into the next stitch, work another, and we are done with this row. Next, into this back loop and then into the stitch you want to work into, and so continue and work your way across, and then when you get here I'll meet you guys back for the last row. So I'm here, and next row is going to be the last row, which is row 47. So you can see how our sleeve is coming up. So for row 47 we're going to chain 1 and then turn, and then we're going to work our way down, and then when you get to the end fasten off, and then repeat the steps for another sleeve. Okay guys, so I'm back and I've joined this sleeve to this panel, to both panels actually, and can you see how seamless this looks? It looks clean and tidy. This is the back, the same look. So this is the right side. Let me show you the wrong side. It's the wrong side. So I'm going to obviously with this ends when I'm done. So this is the wrong side. So I'm going to show you how to join the sleeve to the panels on this side. Okay, the panels and the sleeves, they have a right side. So how to easily identify the right side is the tail from your slip knot. When it's on your right side facing you, this side is the right side, and then this is the wrong side. So this is the right side of the top, and then if you look, you can see that the short rows look cleaner on this side than this side. So how to know which side is the right side is like when it's facing you and you have the slip knot, the tail from the slip knot on your right side, the side on top, the side facing out is the right side. So when the slip knot is on your right side, like so, this is the tail from the slip knot, from the starting slip knot. When it's on your right side, the side facing up is the right side, and then this is the wrong side. So to join our panels, we're going to make sure the right sides are facing each other. So like this is the right side, this is the right side, so make sure they are facing each other like this, and then so this is the wrong side, this is the wrong side, and then the right sides are inside. So but before we join, we're going to have to connect both sides of the sleeve together. So we're going to join the sleeve together first. Same thing with the sleeve. So this is a sleeve, and this is the tail from my slip knot, and it's on my right hand side. So in the previous clip I said right side, it should be right hand side. So the tail from my slip knot is on my right hand side, so the side facing up is the right side. So this is the right side of the sleeve. The same thing with the panel. When the tail from your slip knot is on your right hand side, the side facing up is the right side. So this is the sleeve, and we're going to fold it like this, so the right side is facing each other. So fold it like this, so the inside is the right side and then the outside is the wrong side. So and next up, count 24 stitches from here, and then attach a stitch marker to the 24th stitch. Same thing for here. So go ahead and count 24 stitches and then attach a stitch marker to the 24th stitch. Next step, using a 7mm hook, make a slip knot. And then I've attached my stitch marker. Turn this like this. Okay, this is the 24th stitch from this side. So into the stitch after the stitch marker. Okay. Into the stitch after the stitch marker, we're going to be inserting our hook into the front loop. So this are the two loops. Can you see the two loops? But we're going to be inserting our hook only into the front loop. This is the front and this is the back loop. So insert your hook into the back loop of the stitch after the stitch marker for the side facing you, and then the one at the back to the next, into the next stitch. Insert your hook into the front loop of this. You can see this rib, like you don't insert your. Okay, so this is from this is when we started the sleeve, we chained and then we worked into the back bumps. So working into the back bumps leave us 2 loops. So this is the 2 loops left from the chain when we worked into the back bump. So insert your hook into the front loop, okay, and then insert your hook into your slip knot and then pull through and chain 1 to secure, and that's it. So into the next stitch, insert your hook into the front loop of the next stitch and then into the front loop of the stitch for the side at the back, for the panel at the back, and then make a slip knot. So into the next stitch, insert your hook into the front loop and then into the front loop of the one at the back and then make a slip knot. So continue, and then when we get to the part that has slip stitches only, I'll meet you guys back. So I've gotten to the part that has slip stitches only. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove the 7mm hook and then switch over to the 6.5mm hook and then continue doing what you were doing before. So insert your hook into the front loop of the next stitch of the panel facing you and then into the front loop of the panel at the back and then make a slip stitch. So continue and then work your way across, and then when you get to the end, chain 1 and then fasten off. Okay guys, so I'm done seaming the sleeve together, and this is what it should look like on the inside. You can see, okay, I don't know if you guys can see it because of the color. Well, okay, we're going to be attaching the sleeve to the panel, and make sure the panel is turned wrong side out, so the right sides are on the inside. And in case you're wondering why my fingers are this color, I cooked with turmeric, fresh turmeric, so it made my fingers orange, so excuse the color. And into the sleeve, insert your hook into the corner stitch, insert your hook into the 2 loops, and then on this panel find the corresponding stitch, the corner stitch on this. For this first stitch, we're going to be inserting our hook into the 2 loops. So insert your hook into the 2 loops like this, and then make a slip knot. I've already made mine. And insert your hook into the loop and then pull through and then chain 1 to secure it. Okay, so it's attached. So into the next stitch, we're going to be inserting our hook into the front loop. For the sleeve, insert your hook into the front loop of the next stitch. Remember, we're using a 7mm hook. And then for the body panel, insert your hook into the front loop of the next corresponding stitch and then make a slip stitch. Then for the next stitch, insert your hook into the front loop and then into the front loop of the body panel and then make a slip stitch. So continue and work 23 slip stitches. It should be 23 because we have a stitch count of 24, and then for the first stitch we just pull through, so we should make 23 slip stitches, and then when you get to the 23rd stitch, I'll meet you guys back for the next step. Okay, to work the 23rd slip stitch, which is actually the 24th stitch joined, because remember when we started out we counted 24 stitches from the top of the sweater, and then we attached a stitch marker to the 24th stitch. So remove the stitch marker. So we're going to be working into this stitch. So remember, we're working into the front loop, of the stitch, and then the corresponding stitch on the panel. Insert your hook into the front loop, and then pull through. So do a chain up of 1, and then cut. So we've joined. This is the front, you can see. Okay, so we're going to repeat the same thing for this side. So we're going to be joining this side to the other panel. So repeat the same thing. Then when you get to the stitch that has a stitch marker, I'll meet you guys back for the next step. To work the last armhole stitch, remove the stitch marker, and then into the front loop of the body panel, and then into the front loop of the sleeve. Make a slip stitch. Okay, chain 1 and cut your yarn. To join the two body panels together, remember the right side is inside and then the wrong side is facing out. So with a 6.5 mm hook, insert your hook into the two top loops of the corner stitch, and for the panel facing, and then to the two top loops of the panel at the back, and then make a slip knot. Insert your hook into the loop and pull through, and chain 1 to secure. So to join the next stitch, we're going to be inserting a hook into the back loop. So insert your hook into the back loop of the stitch. This has 2 loops, so insert your hook into the back loop of the panel facing you, and then insert your hook into the back loop of the panel at the back, the corresponding stitch, and then make a slip stitch. One more time, insert your hook into the back loop, into the back loop of the next stitch for the panel facing you, and then the back loop of the corresponding stitch in the panel at the back, and then make a slip stitch. Continue, and then when you've exhausted all slip stitches, switch over to the 6 mm hook and then work the yarn over slip stitches. Continue until you've worked until the last stitch, which is going to be stitch number 40, and then I'll meet you guys back. So I'm done joining the panels together, and we are left with this hole. So to close off this hole, of course there are other ways you can do it. You can fasten off now and then leave a long tail and then use the tail to close up the hole, or you can do what I'm going to do now. I'm going to find a loop on this panel and then find a corresponding loop on the other panel and then slip stitch. Then find another loop on this panel and then try to find the corresponding loop on the back panel and then slip stitch. Find another on this loop on this panel and then corresponding on the back and then slip stitch. So now I can chain 1 and fasten off. As you can see, I've closed the hole. Go ahead and turn your sweater right side out. Okay, so we're going to be working top band ribbon, and we're going to be using 7 mm hook. make a slip knot, and then the middle of the sleeve, go ahead and insert your hook into a row. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into, let me use the tapestry needle to show you guys where I'm going to be inserting my hook. So for this top band ribbon, we're going to be working into this, like the rows, the top of the rows. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into this stitch for this row. So please make sure to go in through 2 loops of yarn. So I'm going to insert my hook and then pull yarn through, and then I'm going to chain 8. Okay, so into the back bump of the second chain from my hook, work a slip stitch. Continue down the entire chain. Remember, we're working into the back bumps of the chains, so I have 7 slip stitches. We're going to attach this row to the next row, which is going to be this one right here. So but make sure to go in through 2 loops of yarn. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into this, and then I'm going to be slip stitching to attach. So slip stitch, attach, and then to work up to the next row, I'm going to be slip stitching up to the next row, which is going to be this. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook and then slip stitch, and then I'm going to turn my work, and then we're going to work 7 slip stitches in the back loop of the slip stitches from the previous row. So we're going to skip the first 2 slip stitches, and then from the previous row into the back loop, work a slip stitch, to the next, work a slip stitch. So go ahead and finish up the row. Okay, so I finished up this row. So what we're going to do next is to chain 1 and then turn, and then we're going to work our way back down, and we're going to continue this going all over. And then when we get to this point, which is the seam from when we joined the sleeve to the panel, we're going to treat this as a row of stitches. So we're going to be slip stitching into this stitch, and then we're going to continue and then work our way across the entire thing. Then I'll meet you guys back so we can seam it together. Okay, so I've gone all the way around. If your numbers are correct, you should have 95 rows in total. Also, you can see why I said you should turn your sweater right side out for this ribbon. If you look on the inside, you can see this looks untidy, but on the outside it looks clean. So I had a reason for that. So now it's time for us to seam these 2 together. Okay, so to seam, we're going to turn our sweater wrong side out, and this is the live loop. And then to join, we're going to insert our hook into the back loop. This is the slip stitch that attached the row to the sleeve. So this is the stitch we're supposed to be joining. So we're going to be inserting our hook into the back loop, which is this for the side facing, and then the one at the back, we're going to be inserting our hook into this loop right here. Okay, so this one is going to be tricky. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the hook from, we're going to insert a hook into the back loop of this, and then into this loop. I guess you can call it the back loop. Okay, insert your hook into, okay, and then we're going to a loop back, and then we're gonna pull this through, and then we're going to chain one. Then so to connect the next stitch, we're going to insert a hook. Where is my needle? Okay, we're going to insert a hook into the back loop of this panel. Next stitch. Okay, then find the corresponding stitch for the one at the back, and then insert your hook into, it should be this stitch, so we're going to insert a hook into this loop, Can you guys see it? So insert into the loop, and then make a slip stitch. Okay, to join the next stitch, we're going to insert a hook into the back loop, which is this. Insert your hook into the back loop, and then find the corresponding stitch for the one at the back, which is this stitch. We're going to be inserting a hook into this loop, okay, so insert and make a slip stitch. So go ahead and do the same for the rest of the stitches. So I'm at the end, go ahead and chain one, and then cut. And now you can go ahead and weave in all ends, and you're done. All done, finally. This is what the seam looks like, not bad at all. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please can you do so now? And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or you can email me. The address will be in the description box. And that's it. See you in the next video.